Hello everyone, my greetings to one and all. I am Poonam Vohra from Egypt Economics Learning Center. From now onwards, the discussion will be on rural development. What does it mean? It's all about having an improvement in the quality of life of people living in rural areas, for which government needs to spend to make provisions for their basic facilities like education, health, infrastructure, employment opportunities, rural credit, their marketing facilities, and so on. So let's see what all is comprised of under this subunit. The subunit on rural development is explained through 14 videos. It includes various aspects like need for rural credit. Second is sources of rural credit. One such source is through banks. Problems faced by the banks. Then another source is cooperative societies, then problems faced by cooperative societies, then measures have been taken to improve credit flow. Next is various problems faced by farmers in agricultural marketing. What measures and recent intervention has been done by the government. Then it also includes agricultural diversification through horticulture, through dairying, poultry farming, fisheries, through information technology, and finally organic farming, the initiatives, benefits, and challenges faced. As is known, agriculture is the main source of income for people living in the rural areas, and they need to invest a considerable amount of funds every year for agricultural purposes. So for rural development, rural credit is of utmost importance. So let us begin with need for rural credit. Let's understand what and why of rural development. What exactly do we mean by rural development? It's all about improving rural life, mainly in social and economic aspects. So it focuses upon upliftment and development of rural economies and address various issues like public health, literacy, female empowerment, land reforms, infrastructure development, and availability of credit to eradicate poverty. Why should we be bothered about rural development? Simply because rural economy is an example of agrarian economy, and the problem is that share of agriculture in GDP has been constantly declining, and the growth rate has decelerated to 2.3% after the economic reforms of 1991. About 2/3 of India's population depends upon agriculture. With increasing population, demand for basic needs has been sharply rising. Approximately 60 to 70% of the people who are living in rural areas neither have adequate landholdings nor alternative service opportunities. So in the absence of adequate employment opportunities, they are unable to generate enough wages. Also, due to illiteracy and lack of communication, they are slow in adopting new practices. As a result, productivity is not up to the mark. There has been decline in investment, lack of adequate infrastructure, credit, transport, employment, etc. All these have put a dent on rural development. So, real progress of India is possible only when government focuses on rural development. It is a continuous and comprehensive socio-economic process attempting to improve all aspects of rural life. So focus has to be on rural development. Making rural credit available is the foremost requirement of rural development. So let's focus on rural credit. It refers to credit for the farmers in rural areas. An effective rural credit delivery system is essential to achieve higher productivity in agricultural sector. Also, as gestation period between crop sowing and realization of income after production is quite long, farmers borrow from various sources to meet their initial investment on various inputs required for cultivation and to meet other family expenses. So, credit needs of the farmers can be classified as according to time and according to purpose. According to time period, farmers borrow for short term to buy seeds, tools, fertilizers, etc. For medium term, to buy machinery, equipment, and so on. And for long term, to buy land, heavy machinery, and so on. And according to purpose, farmers borrow for productive purposes, to enhance agricultural production, for unproductive purposes, to meet social obligations. You know that farmer can take loan for short term, for medium term, and for long term purposes. Some of the purposes are mentioned here. You need to identify for these purposes what kind of a loan will be required by the farmer. Will it be short-term loan? Will it be medium-term? Or will it be long-term loan? The various purposes are: 1. To fence his fields. What kind of a loan he will be taking? 2. For digging up of wells. 3. To buy seeds and fertilizers. 4. To pay back his ancestral debt. And 5. To buy a new tractor. Now answer these. Please check your answer. Short-term loan is required to buy seeds and fertilizers, whereas medium-term loan is required to fence his fields and digging up of wells. Long-term loan is required to pay off his debt and to buy a new tractor. I hope you have understood what and why of rural credit. With this, the session comes to an end. We shall continue further with the unit, and the next session will focus on sources of rural credit, that is, banks. Till then, keep reading and keep learning.